Right. What's up, Facebook? This the God Weezy. New shipment I got from Toomey. I had got something else too. T-shirt. I didn't think y'all wanted to see that shit. These are my boots. I got for the winter. I got to take the other ones back because I can either wear these motherfuckers. Yeah, these my boots I got. So, I ain't doing nothing but just chilling, entertaining and shit. And staying out of trouble. Staying clean as usual. And I think these motherfuckers too small. And I gotta get me a size 9. And I could have sworn I ordered a size 9. And I'm mad. I'm very mad. Fuck. Gotta send these back. Where that damn shirt at wood? Yeah, never mind. A long sleeve V-neck. This junk nice and warm. Just like how I like it. Just how it should be for the weather that I'm living in right now. But I wish it would blizzard. And they ain't even strong enough and that shit become something that they want. I'm referring to somebody thought that was on my mind about someone telling the people to abandon me like they did Jesus Christ. And they gotta understand what I established. Another person's not gonna listen to this person and say abandon Weezy. So it's gotta be the people that build shit around me can only tell another person to abandon me. So that shit is no more than an arbitration from the governments and for false kings, false Christians and shit. You getting mad at me because you know by the day Jesus? What the fuck? The shit a lie, the shit a lie. What the fuck? Artificial intelligence been here from day one. So, if you got killed by the Romans, I'm a Christian my whole life, right? And if I feel as though I'm getting an attitude with Jesus Christ about a situation I'm thinking about in my head, then it becomes the people that's saying, Richard, the Christians are trying to slave you, but it becomes no more than saying, you something to Jesus Christ or Jesus Christ is enslaving you. But it takes for, only way for you to understand if you have the wisdom of Christianity and the wisdom of the Holy Bible about life and death. Because Jesus becomes a crybaby that was a baby that was neglected because his father couldn't become a king only in the eyes of the woman that he loved. So Jesus was a bastard. But many people don't know that. So if you put the shit together, it's no more than like I had chose Jesus Christ to be my best man. I love Jesus Christ. I bought Jesus Christ a car. I bought Jesus Christ a house. Once a person try to get me to take it from Jesus Christ and says you don't do that for a Muslim, and you've read the whole Holy Quran, and you believe in every religious, I was like, yeah, but Jesus Christ was my first Christianity, was my first belief of God, was my first love. As like saying, I didn't look at Jesus Christ as his own man until I got like 21 or older, when it was brought to my attention from reading that Jesus Christ is king. Because when the people used to say stuff about Jesus Christ saying he a man just like we a man, the education becomes no more than I never paid attention to it, or someone to take me away from the conversation. So it's no more than saying it's jealousy from the man that I'm becoming and the man that I became. And these people want me to worship Jesus Christ as God when he isn't God. He's only God if he can provide what you don't have, as far as yesterday's education on a person's innocence and guilt. Like from basic, like put it like this, Jesus was supposed to be born back in AD. So if he say this a murderer, you gonna believe it, just like the Bible, right? The Romans and shit. But if you convert it to older age, as their generation, they tell you that the artificial intelligence exists, and tell you that Jesus did no more than cry, because the Romans rejected him off his father and mother wishes, meaning he couldn't get the woman he wanted, he couldn't enjoy his life with the Romans of fucking the whores and the bastards. So the education was no more than saying, the wife, my wife, is my wife. So I start seeing Jesus Christ accept the offer of having my wife with him to make another nigga happy, to try to make me miserable. So I told my wife, I say, nah, you can't be up under him no more. And it becomes, I created you, I established you, and it become no more than saying you gonna show how beautiful you are off me in your hand, right? So Jesus tried to pimp her, right? Because Jesus is supposed to be a coward that was scared of man. That's what his identity tells you. But you don't know that unless you're a man, meaning you can't have a grudge. You gotta be per man, meaning no hatred, under completely intelligence qualifications. So I tells Jesus, I'm like, this is my third time telling you this. Every time my wife go up under you, I yelled at you every third time, and it becomes, you don't have to tell me if my wife with you. So the education was no more than saying it was another woman with him, and he lied. And then the education was he tried to swap rings with my wife for his whoredom that was going to tell that he was a homosexual. So if I tell you that Jesus Christ is a robot and he man and woman, what's the first thought that comes to your head? The person that's representing his story accepted his offer and is a liar. And it goes from saying he gave a woman his red, and he gave him something else. Then it goes to he says he rose from the dead. What was it, 7 or 5 days? But the education is he went to another king and changed his name to the person name was Jesus that was dead, right? Because the Romans and them, they all look like duplicates. So if you put 2 and 2 together, it's me, right? Establishing my life, right, for my wedding and shit. I hit the Powerball. I won the lawsuit. I started telling about it. the nigga that was in my mother household named Mike and shit, he get mad about me telling my business what I want to people in society and on the internet. Then he get mad about me splurging about with my own money, right? So I start putting it together, right? I hear him out first. He say, Richard, people grind me out here. People gonna try you, right? So I'm like, I'm like, I'm a grown fucking man. This says us today, right? I'm like, I'm a grown fucking man. I'm way out here on the West Coast. Don't nobody know me, right? So who the fuck is gonna try me? I only associate with y'all on the phone. I ain't worrying about you trying to do nothing, because once you come in the door, you dead, right? Because the only way you getting in if I open it, or if the landlord open it, and she got to know you. So and then it becomes who you know on the West Coast. So then it comes to saying, right? I get to bragging. He get jealous because he can't brag, right? So I get to thinking. I'm like, I don't judge a man by his identity, none of that shit, right? So I get what it becomes. It becomes saying more people get interested in me. Then it becomes saying I'm solving another person wonders, right? Right, so I get to saying I'm a good person. I don't get in trouble. I passed, graduated. I got my high school diploma and shit. So I get to thinking, right? He says, what the fuck did he say? He said some hating shit out his mouth. So, about me splurging again. So I said to him, it's no more than you mad because you had. Your days are over, right? And it become, what I found out was he was like an informant, but he ain't no informant because he haven't showed me no badge. He never showed me none of that, right? But he was like, it's like he a mental case. Like he retarded, like slightly retarded or some shit, right? So he started informing a situation for me to take the same root and gender as the regular black man, right? And as the black man that he idolized from the area, right? When I was living in Washington, D.C. and shit, right? So I get to hear what route he get to try and put me in and shit. He get to try to force me into slavery, right? Because this is what he do. He try to break me and my wife up, right? He get to, he go duplicate with his connect. This, the artificial intelligence jump, it's like a sequence. It hits you in your eye of a duplicate. And then the other one, it takes up to so many numbers because first of all, they do what's important first. It's life, right? So they make sure they say, okay, life is important first. So, and it goes off your health. So they say, if someone was trying to kill you, your eyes can take a snapshot of them, right? Without having any contact lenses in and all that shit, right? It say it goes straight to the satellite. Then the second one they say is other ways to try to force your death is stress. So I'm saying to them, okay, I understand that, right? But these are the thoughts that people telling me outside. I don't know if they're informants or anything. Then the thoughts that come through my head with the device that's hooked on my head that I didn't sign a consent for and trying to take all of my credit. So then he says, this is what he do, right? He tried to make me look like a liar. So I says, meaning another way trying to enslave me so I can stop saving my money, so I can stop getting money, so I can put weight on myself, right? Physically and mentally, right? So then the other thing he set up was in Washington, D.C. when he was with, I get locked up. I come home, right? Ain't none of my bitches try to fuck with me, right? None of my bitches was visible to me. I get to hearing them and shit. They get to saying, if you curious about him from you can't read him, or if he communicating with homosexual men's and lesbian, then you gonna get your answer right here. And says, so don't nobody give him nothing. Don't none of y'all have sex with him. Do nothing. See who he gonna rely on, right? I mean, it says don't give him no money. Don't have sex with me. Don't be my friend. Don't be nothing to me. But just acknowledge that they know that I'm there. Right. So I'm like, what the fuck? Because I rewinded. I remember I came in the house one day. He's sitting on the couch looking at TV. I eat, goes upstairs, play my game. I come back down. I think I slightly catch him playing with his dick, right? On the couch. Put pillow right there and shit. So I ain't say nothing like, he a man, right? That shit ain't nothing. So then, the next day I come back, it's like he wanted me to say something. So I goes and listen to the jokes and shit he be saying out his mouth like a child. He say Jackie, which was covering up for a robbery, and then the enforcement of saying to play with your dick, and the enforcement to play with your dick if you a top dog and you get infiltrated and you don't have nobody and you got to play with your dick, it becomes they gonna look at you as a nobody, but they don't have your mind. You'll have to keep fighting, right, for a bitch to accept you as your standards, right, as what your identity present to them. So then they get to telling me about my Powerball for $1.2 billion that I hit and not win. Situation happened late after that. Crimes that won't happen, right? I get hit in the head with a gun. I'm like 16, 17. I'm like, right, 16, 17. I hit the Powerball, 1.2 billion some change. I ain't get no mail, right? So when I get locked up like 10 years plus ago in Virginia, the artificial intelligence tells me, you won the Powerball. Your Powerball was for 1.2 billion. They try to steal it out your pants pocket. Your pants that it was in is an evidence. Then it says they try to scramble your mind to the point of like amnesia that I'm slightly suffering with now, but it's not big. It's no more than I have to just take my time and go this route, but I won't do it if another person says it, which makes me automatic forget what I do because it uses the device that's connected on my head and says it like he commanded me to do this, because what I just told you that he was trying to make me become is what he is. So then they say to me, and you know when you had got molested, when you were 6 or 7 years old by those women, those 10 plus women, you get lawsuit money from that, right? So I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, it wasn't your consent. It was pleasure to you because you knew you was having sex. But the first one wasn't. So that's how I got started. The first one was, she called me in the room. She said, Richard, come in the room. I'm like 7 or 8. She said, I'm playing the game. You want to play the game? I ain't say nothing. She handed me the controller. Next thing you know, she pulled my pants down, started having sex with me. Right, she already like 200 pounds. I ain't nothing but like 7 or 8. So that was the first time of that, right? Of a child molesting. So then the next one he come, the artificial intelligence system come again. It says, right, the artificial intelligence says, the asthma attack that you had when you were a baby was directly. I say, what? He said, yeah, He says they try to kill you. It's what it is. And I say, how the fuck you saying they try to kill me? He said, because the man and the woman that your mother, he says the man your mother was fucking with knew that your mother wasn't gonna commit to him forever. He was only something that had something that she wanted at the moment. But it becomes she never said nothing. So he never knew who it was coming from, that he was going to take chunks out and have to, right, give out chunks of wealth, right? So then the next one goes and says, the beauty of your grandmother was her structure of her mind is that if you touch her, she gonna kill you, and that is manly, right? Her demands as a woman is like manly, that they couldn't get in our household. Other males couldn't get in the household, but it's no more than you gonna be with this one or you gonna be with that one. All that doubling and shit ain't happening, and it's common sense. Because later on, they try to live with you and live off you. So he gets to saying, yeah, you get a non-illing for your asthma attack. Say it came from the white people through the oral system with the satellites. He get to saying, George Washington tried to cover up. He tried to crash his satellite system when he was found guilty before. And that's the same system that he used on you. So we get to thinking. I get to thinking. I say, the fuck is a kneeling? Right? I look it up on the internet. It's a bunch of zeros, like 100 zeros. So I'm like, okay, why I ain't getting no money from that? Why I'm 21 now, right? So he like, you rejected that protection from your winnings of the Powerball, but you didn't reject the rest of the protection that was around you, which converts back into them saying when you had sex, when you was 6 or 7, got molested, you'll forgive the woman and you'll forgive their whole surroundings, which becomes they able to join population with me again. Right, but it goes to the wisdom of them trying to say that they own you and prostituted me and could do what they want to my family. It's when they was talking themselves as kings and queens and gods, right? So then he says, oh yeah, he says, when you got hit in the head with a gun, when you won gambling, when you were gambling, he called it. He said he called himself a ruler of saying you gonna obey all the rules because he was hibernating criminals in that society, and it becomes no more than he snitched on himself of that somebody was watching you inside the government system that came out of the government system and was watching me from my winnings. So he says he was an informant. He said the man that hit you in the head with a gun was a robot that they created. He says they created them as a man and created it as what they want to get the truth from another man and woman to see where they homosexuals and lesbians, faggots and dykes. So and it says he says to us he didn't hit you hard, which is what they pulled up off the satellite. He tapped me in the head with it. He had me on the ground. He's like, this a Jesus piece. Hit me in the head with the guns, like got one and shit. So he was basically like, you just at the wrong place at the wrong time, but you were a target, right? Becomes saying when you leave, we ain't gonna have nothing, right? And it becomes we ain't nobody to make it to communicate to you. It's what he was basically saying, what the other two was saying. So I say, how much is that lawsuit from getting hit in the head with a gun by a police informant? He said that lawsuit is forever. He said it starts at your first lawsuits, which each of your lawsuits starts from, which is life-threatening, right? Right, which is a kneeling. And he said, we know you want to make this public because you're a man that can hold your own. Even when you were a boy, you can hold your own. That's what he said to me. So I said, exactly. And he said, so when you get over the shockness of getting hit with a gun, we could go ahead and produce that you had got hit in the head with a gun by a informant. And it goes and give the rest of your establishments the heads up about the people that's living in a society, right? As government informants. Exactly what it was, what he says. So then he says, That lawsuit was $1 million. It goes to, he said it's forever. So right now it's something. It was way more than something, some other shit, right? So I says to him, right, as the artificial intelligence, I say, okay, only protection I have that y'all have on me is the newest protection, right? Which is was this yesterday protection, right? Since I rejected one of the Powerballs, protect the custody, and I rejected all they ways they wanted me to set to try to gain the upper hand over me, is what they would have said. So he says, I asked him this. I says, why do y'all have my real identity wrapped up? I said, isn't that considered, I could be, you don't know where my mind at now, I could black out, snap on anybody any moment for what happened to me. Say, yeah, that's true. But he says, think about it. If you telling us, right, as artificial intelligence, which is titled as an iRobot or a robot, right, that you want to show how beautiful you are because you know the man you are, that each woman will give you some pussy instantly, right? And you'll be the number one ruler, number one God. You'll be everybody want. And he says he wrapped my identity up so I won't be everybody want, right? And it becomes what he just tell you. He says he ain't have his memory for the company that was going to surround me. And it becomes, from that statement being said, right, you're honest, you don't have a worry of who's right, and honest and innocent, you don't have a worry of who's surrounding you, which becomes saying, what do you think that George Washington faked his death for? That's what he says to me. I said, because he was illiterate? He said, that's exactly what he wants you to think. He said he faked his death because he was curious. As the questions that you asked me, the questions that you asked, as saying, what's inside the human head? Is it really guts looking, or the shape, form that they show in the movies? That's one. Then the other one becomes saying, why didn't you tell us we can live forever? That's two. Then the third one becomes saying, what is the world really created out of? That's three. So then he goes and says, you believe that everything from this point, from the government betraying you, is a lie, right? I says, in those states, right? Exactly. So he says, now think about it. They target you. He said they target you and you did nothing at all, right? Meaning they knew what money that you were about to receive. He said you couldn't breathe. They dropped a chemical on you and they wrapped you up in a costume to suffocate you, right? Which is supposed to be the aggressive white man that betrayed Aryan Brotherhood. Exactly. Cowards, faggots that rape the woman. No, they don't rape them. They rape them that way, but it's consensual sex to get them the urge to hurry up. So then, and the black male that portrays the educational scientist. Right, the Michael Jordans of what they call. So he says, if I give you a confirmation on what they gave to you to compensate you, what would you say to me if I said to you, I wasn't playing with you when you says you beefing with him? No, you beefing with me, right? Meaning you wouldn't never, I'll be able to tell the difference. And so he says, right, he says to me, right, you will be able to tell the difference. But the next person wouldn't, which becomes the person is a criminal. Meaning he's lying to them, or she's lying. So I says, I'm a man. I said I committed to 20,000 years, 5,000 years of each woman that I wanted to spend a relationship with. Puerto Rican, if I wanted to marry, it'd take me 5,000 years for a Puerto Rican Dominican woman. So those 5,000 years, and not one Puerto Rican Dominican woman says that she wanted to marry me from my creation or American creation, which doesn't exist, I mean from my creation, then it goes to saying They got rights just like me. They don't have to be in a relationship with me. But I'm going to get tempted to say, it's a government in a world that says, I don't have to be here. I don't have to do what your law tell me to do. Only law, and then it says, right, and you do. Which becomes saying, I wouldn't say that. It becomes saying, I don't have to establish what life is. What it becomes. It's what I already do now, right? Besides the people I established with me. So, and I say it's a government that gives you all your money immediately, just like I read in the Bible that says every day it's the first of the month and told you go and run like a chicken with your head off to get your money because they don't got life no more as the Christianity of Jesus in them. Right. So soon when I go, I say to him, I say, you my best man. He already know. No, I said, you my best man, you this and that to me, right? To the artificial intelligence, right? So this is after they say you could create this woman any way you want to create her. But this is the thing. I don't have to tell you nothing that you already know, which means you follow the rules. She got to follow the rules. If she don't want the rules of America, she got to go overseas, right, to live as another to king and queen, right? So now you got to put it together. It's what he's saying to me, which becomes saying, if your family tried to kill you, it's what he says to me. What will make you think that I will lay on you and let you live your life as a man that killed another man or a woman that killed another woman? What does it become saying? Richard, if this man and woman killed another man and they watching me, I don't know what they killed them for. I don't know if it was self-defense. I don't know if it's a murder. But the education goes to saying, only way they will be watching me will become saying, you my provider, which becomes saying, that's what they were. So they couldn't afford for me to shut off society, right? Because they take life. They take life as a trade that he tried to stop me from saying, as saying, it's called the Gandhi Muhammad trade. The Gandhi Muhammad trade where a beautiful woman supposed to beat up Gandhi Muhammad when he was living his religions and shit. Like the Christians, they live their religions and they tell you to drop it. And then they get in your head and say, we gonna do this and that, or we this and that to each other. And the education becomes, they ain't this to each other. But Gandhi, that's for today of me, what they tried to me. But Gandhi's was a little bit different. Gandhi's was more like a rapist, what I heard. The woman kept seducing her, Gandhi and shit around them. Everybody got to fuck her except for Gandhi. Meaning she supposed to have fractured his brain, fractured something in his head to hurt him, but it supposed to protect his heart. It protected his heart, right? And to the point where she supposed to got raped and supposed to try to lie on Gandhi. When how y'all smarters what they try to do to me? Right. So that's what that trade is. So from that standpoint, I'm in Washington, D.C. I leave Washington, D.C. When they try to kill me as the government, I know it's going to run off people that was part of my life, but that becomes what I first said. They're no more than people that the government built around me. You see what I'm saying? So when the nigga hooked up that shit for me to die in my sleep, I used to die in my sleep also. Meaning like, for like, I know it sounds crazy, for like a minute probably at the most, so 40 seconds, not breathing, right? But this is when you sleep. Just imagine all your breathing vocals and shit cut off when you sleep, and then your mind click on that the motherfucking bitch say, or the nigga say, he did it because he know you was gonna say no, or he did it because he know that you perfect, or he did it because you know a secret about him. And it becomes the education I got today said, well, evidently you want a person to know that's what you are. You know what I'm saying? So I just start paying attention to that now as I move out here in Iowa and shit, right? I cut them niggas off and shit. niggas wasn't about shit. They try to get me to fuck a bitch was lower than my standards. Nah, I'm top notch with mine. So I let that be. I save up my money. I'm creating this shit, right? I save up my money, right? I already got on my, I'm like at $2,000, $3,000 from my Social Security check. I already got on my mind as I got this much money. They want me to spend my check frequently, right? To be asked out to rely on one of them. I'm like, that's dead. I ain't dumb, right? So I tell my wife that I established. I say, this the engagement ring. Yeah, I'm hurting and I'm for this identity that you in at the moment. But she already knew that I was gonna keep creating, right? But the education becomes, you look just like me. So what I'm going through, you going through it because you love me, right? So I give her the engagement ring. I tell my best man when he in an artificial intelligence form, I say, give my wife the engagement ring. And I say, I tell her while she beside me, and I tell him I say, they gonna try to break us up because that's what they are. They don't exist, right? They want to exist. This finished paying on it. It was 18,000, dropped down like 15, 16. Y'all saw it on the internet. Give her engagement ring, give her all access to everything, half of all my money. She Puerto Rican Dominican, right? So she's the love of my life. It's what I decided. Now, mind you, it goes off my standards, right? She's telling me that it's somebody on the inside, but it sounds like she want to mummy rap me, right? But it's not my wife. I'm telling my wife, it's my wife, but I'm telling my wife, don't sacrifice yourself of eating to speak who's committing the crimes to me. We are the world's richest man and smartest man and woman. I have this system to do that. I have the people to do that. Those people won't get taken care by me because they love me and I love them, right? Because they can't identify them because they don't know what love is. That's the thing. So they get to show me Mona Lisa. Mona Lisa flashed me in my eye. They get to try to get me to be in a relationship with Mona Lisa from when they programmed it when I was growing up so they can get what they call their money back and saying they sacrificed me to do what they sacrificed me and did what they want to me. So I'm like, that's dead. I ain't fucking you. You a hoe. Right? But I ain't say that back then. I just started saying the lady because she started being real disrespectful. Me and my wife making love. She get to hitting me in my eye with the artificial intelligence, get to stabbing me with the hatred of the state in my heart and shit with the rest of them. So they get to try to find some way again from Washington, D.C. and they with me. But it ain't happening. And from the shit she was stabbing me in my heart, the technician and shit, the satellite shit that she was using, it affects, but it didn't and shit. I mean, she was making sure that I wasn't enjoying my love, but she got to think, it's love. Even if my dick in her ain't the way that she wanted me to be moving in her, I'm her husband. So it's not going to affect her, the disrespect to affect her, because you looked at both of us in our eyes and told us that you weren't going to go that route. Meaning if you wouldn't be able to go back to where you were located from, right, without a thought. There you go. So I'm here. Let me tell you, I'm here, right? I guess this is the wife, okay? I say to my wife, I say, we engage, we married by love. Say this you know what this is? Talk to her, this is the engagement ring. You already know who I am from seeing me up above in the sky. I don't want nothing to do with them, right? Right, no one matters but you. I tell her, you my mother, you my wife, you my daughter, you everything what a woman is to a man. Right, it's what I tell her. Right, both ways, biological and outside male. Right, society male. So I say, Tell her I love her and shit. She enjoy her life and shit with my mother, blase, blase, and shit. So, I started thinking, right? They say, he says, you got, what the fuck did he tell me? He says, he said your discovery lawsuits channel for your lawsuit for discrimination of Discovery Channel says you got that on the way coming to you, right? Then he says we both know that the lawyer had something to do with you getting hit in the head with a gun, Donald Temple, right? Right. So we that was my lawyer name, Donald Temple. So I sued him. I was gonna give him a job. I was communicating with him and shit through the little device that they had and shit. Cause they was like, it supposed to be in a war but over me, but it becomes thing. The war was the diversion. They say he will never know who's for him or not. So everybody act like they do the queen, the king and the queen, like everybody for him. So if they fighting, and at the end of the night they say, right, he think that we for him, but they really against you. Right, I mean to get what they want. Maybe might go the distance of trying to kill him. You never know, but I ain't gonna let him. So I get to writing a letter to the president. I wrote a letter to Biden. I think I wrote one to Trump. I wrote one to my family members with my last name, letting them know what the situation was. I get to stand who I am. Get to telling them I ain't calling, contacting you to come and take care of me. I got it. I'm my own man. Just letting you know if I need you, just be there. You'll know when I need you, right? Since, you know, you're successful and rich, you know? So I get to hand them. I get to hand them. I get to hand them. He say, he get to try to shut me down so I won't fuck with nobody in the society, right? It's what the criminals start to do. But I don't never see an identity of who the criminal is. I saw it once when he said about the woman molesting me out loud. Right. So from that point, I don't worry about it. It becomes finding out if I fucked the nigga mother when I was 7 years old or something, and looking at him in his face and letting him know he did it to himself. Right. So then the second one, we go back to my lawsuit and shit. I get a Discovery Channel lawsuit. We communicate about that, get to communicating about that and shit. And I told y'all, did I tell y'all that, yeah, I was like 14 and shit. Plus I got the money when I was 18 and shit. He tells me the settlement was for $20,000 with my mother. I'm like 14 and shit. I'm like, oh, that's a lot of money and shit. Then years later, I find out the lawsuit is worth some trillions. They tell me the lawsuit was trillions, right? And billions is what they saying, right? So it was racism, discrimination, right? So I ain't really checking to it. I was like, okay, the artificial intelligence system got it. So I rewinds again. Then it goes and says, don't forget, when you spent your $15,000 or less, and that you gave him $5,000 to invest in what he told you he was investing in, which was cell phones, was supposed to be Apple. Right, Apple is what, I'm 38 now, going on 39. This is when I was 14. Gave him $5,000 to invest in cell phones, which Apple, I'm now the owner of Apple, and still get that investment money from Apple, which is supposed to be a couple of $100 trillion, right? So then, oh shit. I left my motherfucking noodles overload talking to y'all for 45 minutes to cook my macaroni and cheese. Now I gotta throw that shit away and go buy another box. But it don't matter. So, I get the what the fuck I was at? The iPhone, right? Right. The $5,000 and shit and that. Right, I get the money from that. So, then I had another Powerball ticket. This one for $228 million, which was the Mega Millions, right? My baby mother, Shanae Ford and shit. Shout out to Shanae Ford. She get to telling me about it and shit. They get to try to say she tried to steal it from me. The night something had happened when I had it on me and shit. The lights went out and shit. Nigga get to perpetrating like he crazy and shit. I'm in the bathroom throwing up sick and shit from the drinks. And I had to go do the paperwork about that. I ain't never heard nothing about them, but I think I might got a lawsuit with them too. But then later on, when I'm in a shelter in Washington, D.C., right? When I was in the shelter in D.C., I leave out and shit. I had to go to the movies. Before the movies, I played the Powerball ticket. I hit for $458 million. I'm looking at the jump on a scanner downtown, Chinatown, say $458 million. I say, I only see a couple of my numbers. This is the second time they do that to me. I get excited. And then this be the second time they don't give me all my money, right? So I'm like, what the fuck? They gave me $6. I don't even think I got the $6 from the 1.2 Powerball ticket. I think I got like the $6 for the $458 million Powerball ticket, right? I'm like, what the fuck? What the fuck they doing? I'm like, yeah, I live in Washington, and I ain't no geeking ass Washingtonian nigga shit like that. When you go around the city and shit and get the like they won a Super Bowl or some shit. Nah, this ain't no motherfucking stimulus pack. That's dead, right? So they get the competition and shit. But with the money I got now, I told the whole world they can borrow some money from me. They know what borrow means. You have to pay it back. If you don't pay it back, then that's the end of me and you for all immortality. It's what I do to dumbness. I ends it. So from with that point and shit, I'm living lovely, packing my shit up, right? Stocking it. Wife got her engagement ring and shit. And I put it in the storage and, shit with my money. Knowing my wife gonna go and get it and shit. Other bitch trying to control my head on a high level and shit. I don't let it happen, right? So, or I don't let them design my hair. None of that shit. They ain't nothing. No ties to me. No, none of that shit. None of that fake shit. None of that shit. They gotta be themselves. If you choose to let this nigga or bitch consume you, that's on you. I don't have shit to do with it. I'm gonna love you. That's your decision. If, like, for instance, you should know what consume mean. Like, if you want to go out here and say you Pac or you Biggie, and you live that shit and your shit load up and you lock up, it don't have to lock up for me to know, but if you say that's what you want to do, that's you. But I'm telling you, from having that mummification education, your mind state and all that shit, what they provide to you and shit, I got the education on it. But let's get back to what I'm talking about. What I was about to say. Yeah, I don't let them touch. I don't let them do no identities, none of that shit with me. I don't fuck with them. And I get to stalking my shit up. So, like I said, when he took my shortness of breath and shit, this was around, he tried to do around the COVID and shit. That's when I said I was ready to move. That's when I came out here and moved to Iowa. But before that, the state of mind was that the nigga said, if you go to the States, they can give you your money now. But what the nigga did was some bitch shit. He sent me out here as a bitch, mad because his folks couldn't get in my business. And when I arrived out here, because I wasn't going to come out here that early to live out here, when I arrived out here, I ain't had shit. No lawyer popped up, no lottery people popped up, nothing but me with my money I was saving and my clothes that I had in storage, and I had to leave some of that shit behind, right? So, from what that point, I was like, damn, that's fucked up. You gonna lie to me? Right, it's what he did. So then I had to sleep outside when I got out here and shit. I mean, I already scheduled a room, but after that day, I had to sleep outside. Even the nigga from the shelter lied to me. When I called him in DC, he was like, yeah, all you gotta do is just come here, you gonna get a bed, right? Didn't happen. Said you gotta wait 30 days to get a bed, or probably a week or two to get a bed and shit. And it was like, it don't matter how far you come from or where you come from. Like, okay, I get it. You know what's going on, know who I am, but I really ain't give a shit because I was going to whoop him or her, whoever try their hand, right? So, after that, Section 8 come through. I'm in the shelter. I get to sleeping in my storage out here, saving my bread and shit. Got my own place. Now, I moved from here in 4.5 years to Idaho, or 4 years. They get to telling me they gonna give me my bread, but I'm like, why you won't give me my bread here? You know what I'm saying? They saying they supposed to give me something, give me my money here also, and shit. I'm like, why you won't give me my bread here? But I put 2 and 2 together because I asked for the death penalty for the people that's talking to me right now, that put the device on my head, that refuse to remove it, and that keep talking to me. The woman that keep talking to me, threatening me mentally, physically, sexually harassing me. I asked them to me and my lawyers asked for the death penalty for them. And I already held my own in every both state and shit. And George Washington, we asked for the death penalty for him too, because they said he was the head. But we shook on it. He's like, he don't deserve to lose his life, whatever. So he got a warning and shit. So the next one is I move in 4 years, go to Idaho. Idaho was where I supposed to went, either Idaho or Montana, because I love living in the cold. And they don't give me my bread then. At least I have like $40,000 saved up. I could buy a house. I don't want to buy no trailer. I don't want no trailer and shit. And I got my housing lease and shit. And I got my kids with my wife and shit. So they try to do me dirty, but I'm a man. I ain't gonna allow it. So that's pretty much it. They gonna lie to y'all because they don't want y'all to be a part of this money and my love. So you know who I am. I'm Weezy. I'm sure you heard my songs because I allowed y'all to hear my songs. And I know y'all see the people that I'm signing to my Young Money entertainment record label and film label. Y'all seen the engagement ring I bought for my wife. I'm sure y'all saw my wife on the internet and shit before without me or with me while I was asleep. Otherwise than that, man, the last thing they did to me was just made me overcook my noodles for my macaroni and cheese. I only had $19 and some change on my card, and I was gonna buy some chitlins with that. I think I still got enough to make chitlins, like $15 in Walmart. And I go to Dollar Store and buy my macaroni and cheese and drop some more cheese in that shit. That shit is delicious. I thought that off-brand shit was some garbage. When I was home with my mother and shit, I used to stay eating the Velveeta, and because we dropped the Kraft when I was like 6. That shit probably was marketing deals for me. But I owns that also. I owns Velveeta too. But I don't tell y'all shit because y'all believe that I'm crazy, and I don't have time to explain to a fucking person that's under influence that person's telling you the truth, but you still saying he lying. Right, I don't have time for that. That shit end up the wrong way. I've been shocked or some shit, so. But It is what it is. I remain the richest and smartest man. And I also tell you what they put on me. Meaning this, I didn't look at this shit. 39. They trying to say I'm stressing and bumming. Y'all look at all my old pictures of how I dress myself. They telling me I gotta wear and present myself what they want me to present them as and shit. And I also had a self-defense jump that I had caught in Washington, D.C. But all you got to do is ask him what I told him. You got to ask him. Ask him, was it an act? Because we know Denzel Washington, the man my grandmother used to be in a relationship, name was Leroy Washington. It's supposed to be his brother or some shit. And they be doing well, you basically know who Denzel Washington is, training their Alonzo and shit. So one day I was walking down the street with my little brother and them. They go worry with. I don't acknowledge their ass. I don't acknowledge none of them. Like I said, I got like my famous family members, the Thompsons, Tessa Thompson, Chris Thompson, Trisha Thompson. I don't acknowledge none of them. And I bet one of them try to cover up this shit because why? You can't speak freely. You can't speak yourself because no one is going to be real with you until they understand you. Or the shit might freak you out to make you believe you're getting sex trafficked or someone got plans to do something else to you. But you know where to come at. You know who I am. So, yeah, I'm walking up the alley one day and shit. Not the alley, but walking up the street with my little brother and shit, about to meet this broad named Monet. Was a friend of mine in D.C., Monet Dudes and shit. And she told me where to meet her at the 7-Eleven. It's me, my little brother, and Corey, right? So as we walking, a nigga approaching us, remember I already got robbed before, hitting the head with a gun before, right? At the same time with the robbery. So we walking up the street and shit, and my brother just had found the gun and brung it in the house like a week or 2 days earlier, so I know this shit was script. So 2 shatter and shit. So we walking up the street. They can't do nothing. They got satellites. If they can't hold me for self-defense. That's you snitching on yourself because you told you wouldn't allow us to defend ourselves because your grandfather wanted it to be him known as a king when he was a coward like Jesus Christ. And your grandmother wanted to be known as a queen, but she's a fucking whore and a thief. But it's nothing personal with me. You got to keep acting to survive around me. But you shouldn't have to when you know I'm not going to harm you and I don't fear you. So I get to walking up the street. I get to walking, nigga come behind us. I feel him like behind us. Soon when I'm like we on this side, he said something first, right? He said something to us first. I look at them two. My little brother had the gun in his hand. I take the gun out of my little brother's hand. Give me that shit. I pointed at him. Looks directly at him. He was walk. I don't think did he walk around. I shot. Pow. One shot. He running through the alley, yelling, "Help! Police!" Right? I run. I dump. I dropped what I had on me, my baby mother food stamp card, so they could pick that up as evidence with the hoodie I had on. Then I chased the nigga down that was about to rob us, right? So I catch him bullshitting in the parking lot, running between 2 cars. I look at him like this, right? I ain't had my hand like this, none of this shit. Just like this with the 2-shot gun. And right? I ain't blackout, none of that shit. Remember, I'm a good person. I don't do nothing that I'm supposed to do. But it becomes, you gotta defend your life, right? But he didn't have a gun on him, but his intentions were right. So I stare at him, click it, gun jams up, no bullets come out, open it, still had 1 bullet in there, right? I didn't know about this artificial intelligence and them hanging with celebrities and shit, right? So they wanted me to show my hand of what would I do after they found out this is what happened to me in my childhood, right? It's what the story become unraveling and tell them, right? So I say to the nigga, I say to him, Man, I thought you was Jeremy or Marcus, right? The two niggas that supposed to set me up and rob me at the dice game. We was shooting dice and shit in the alley, right? So I tell him where they from and everything. I say, man, I dap them up. I say, anything you need. I think I tell them, don't tell the police or something. Or I heard the police coming, right? Heard the police coming. I says to him, anything you need, I'm here for you. I'm gonna give it to you. Just tell me or tell one of them, right? I think he saw my little brother and my cousin, right? So he's like, okay, all right. And I was like, man, I'm sorry. I apologize, right? Because I know how it would have felt if the shoe was on the other foot, right? But that's just saying, my mind, I didn't see him with a gun, but I know it was him. And then the other education that could have become another person that was with the nigga that ran in the alley. I only saw one, but I said the education becomes, he could have been an innocent civilian, right? Just like I was an innocent civilian when I got robbed, but God was with us, or the artificial intelligence was with us. So from that situation, man, I squashed that shit. I leave. They get to playing mind games with the shit. Telling people don't go around him, this and that gonna happen, man, because I don't want them dirty ass bitches and they don't got no future. And I get to making amends with everybody, squashing the beef and shit. People that was jealous of me and shit get to telling me why they was jealous of me, saying, oh, the people told them to do this, talking about the shit was recorded on television and shit. I'm like, what? He was like, yeah, that shit real. He was like, that shit, the Illuminati and all that shit get to threaten us. And he said, our education go but so far. So what you expect us to believe or do? If someone call you and say, I'm gonna kill your grandson, I know how much money he worth, or I'm gonna rape your daughter, I know who she with and who she in love with. Shit, they said that they was telling them shit like that. But I'm like, they was lying, that's what he said they were. That's what he said, they were lying. So I'm like, I flip it, he says, both of us says, he's no more than saying his hand is burnt. He can't get what you receiving, or it's no more than saying he's a part of those two takers of life. So he have to rely on somebody, so he try to put your life in his hands to give him power over me, or put my life in the law hands with the crooked law informants. It's what he tried to do. So we make amends, we squash it. I put restraining orders out on the people that was hit me with the technology in my eye, put them out my life for all immortality, and the people that was disrespecting me, I put them out my life from all immortality and shit. And I just been good on my own from that point. The guns out here, you don't even gotta have your motherfucking, you don't gotta have something out here, you can buy a gun, right? You don't gotta have a permit. You can buy a gun with just your ID. You just can't have a fucked up criminal background and shit. So that was a blessing. So shit been going back and forth with them that know my hand. But otherwise than that, I'm Weezy. I'm good. I'm Young Money. I'm Richard Thompson Viking. I'm always my own man and shit. Still a father. I ain't showing no fear from nothing. You gonna do something, do it, bitch. So otherwise than that, I love y'all, and I see y'all later. And y'all owe me a fucking $1.25. No, that's $2.50, because that's 2 fucking boxes of macaroni and cheese that I was gonna eat with my beautiful ingredients and clock. So I love y'all. I see y'all soon. Love Weezy. And I gotta take my motherfucking shoes back. Too fucking small, Tony. Love Weezy. Owner of everything you know I'm the owner of. One.